Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for convening this important hearing this morning. And thank you to Representatives Neguse, Lee, Moore, and others for introducing this important legislation. Of course, we are very proud of our New Mexicans who are here today joining us. It's wonderful to see our Assistant Secretary, Ms. Tanya Trujillo again, and of course, Bidtah Ms. Becker, it's wonderful to have you here today as well. We're so proud to have you serving the Navajo Nation as well as the state of New Mexico as the Vice Chair of the New Mexico Interstate Stream Commission. As I'm sure has been discussed much here this morning, New Mexico, like so many of our tribal communities, face severe water shortages across the state, and many of our communities do not have access to safe drinking water. It is unconscionable that in one of the wealthiest nations in the world, that many of our communities and our homes still do not have access to safe drinking water and sanitation. Ms. Becker, earlier this year, you testified that nearly a third of households in Native communities across the US do not have reliable water and sanitation services, which is 400,000 Indigenous members of our communities whose health, education, economic development, and other just basic household needs are impacted by this basic quality of life and human rights issue. I believe that the federal government has a fundamental trust and treaty responsibility and a moral obligation to address this issue urgently now and to invest in the infrastructure and the resources and technical assistance to address these issues across our communities. This includes investing in the Indian Health Service and investing in EPA programs that serve our tribes, and of course in the Bureau of Reclamation, which the Department of Interior oversees. This is especially urgent in the Tohajale community, which is a chapter of the Navajo Nation in my district back in New Mexico, and the painful situation on the ground where we have an entire community that does not have access to safe drinking water. And a number of the families that live in Tohajale are having to haul water from Albuquerque and elsewhere because of corroded pipes and a well that is pulling water out of the ground that is not safe for our communities to be drinking. So it's absolutely urgent that we address these issues. It's impacting families, children. It's hard to even imagine for many people in America that we have communities where when they turn on their tap, there is water coming out that is filled with rust and toxins, and in some cases in our Diné communities, uranium and other dangerous constituents, and that there are thousands of families that literally have to drive, in some cases, hundreds of miles to bring water back for drinking, for showering, for providing water for livestock and other household uses. So it's urgent that we address this issue. The Build Back Better Act and the Infrastructure Acts that we're hopefully going to pass in the next 2 days will help to bring a lot of money to help address these issues. But we also have to finish this Navajo Gallup pipeline project so that we can get the large trunk line infrastructure in place. And then we need desperately to fund the infrastructure that will get those pipelines to the individual households so that people have access to water in their homes. Water is a basic human right, and it's crucial to the economic well-being, the health, and just the general well-being of people in our communities. And so with my remaining time, I'd like to ask Ms. Becker if you could share more about what life is like on the ground for our families, especially out in the Diné chapters where people are living without water in their homes. What is water hauling like? How does it affect people? And what does that look like? Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Stansbury. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that hauling water is the single most expensive form of water one can obtain and utilize. And we're already talking about families who suffer some of the highest rates of poverty in the country. So one of the stories I tell is that on the weekends, when people come into the border towns to do the grocery store shopping, to meet basic needs, or they do their laundry, they wash their car, the lines to the bathrooms will be very long because it's the only time you have to go to a flushable bathroom and wash your hands with running water. I think the other thing I want to offer is sometimes we don't realize that these are our neighbors. The community that you're talking about, Tohajale, was significant in the show Breaking Bad. And that might give people some perspective on who we're talking about.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm so glad that you emphasized that Albuquerque is the largest metropolitan area in the state of New Mexico, and the To'Ajale chapter is only a half an hour drive from downtown Albuquerque. So we have a community where people do not have safe drinking water in their homes, a half an hour from our largest metropolitan area. And that is so absolutely unconscionable. And that is why it is crucial that we get funding put into place to help these communities. So I really appreciate you all for your testimony today and for working on these issues and dedicating your lifetime to working on these issues. Thank you.